The heck was that?
I hate that. I don't even know who sent that. That was Kyle.
Looks like Nosler still make a 100-gram ballistic tip.
Yeah, you talking about expensive though?
Yeah, I know. I wish it would come around where frickin' Remington would let go of their core lock bullets. It's just not that time of year that they're doing that though, so I'm just kind of screwed.
All right, you're live, guys.
Yes, sir. Kyle asked me to resend his link to his work email, so I'm doing that now. All right. So how's everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Well, I cannot complain. It has been a good week. It has been a busy week. So I that's the way I like it. I prefer it to be busy and but it's not stressful. So,
Jamie, how about you? How you doing, brother?
Frazzled, man. Just got finished supper and all that, so scrambling to try to get everything situated in this room. I'm trying to rearrange stuff and get everything where I can see it in a normal type pattern, normal manner. And got some things I'm working on. We may share that tonight. We don't really have a set preferred topic that we were going to start with, and couple of things came to my mind, but we don't have to do anything. We can just chat like we usually do. James Pollard, hey man, y'all. Some of y'all saw the video that I did about my AR build problems. So since then, I have tonight we may have to name some names. I've sent some emails and I've rebuilt the gun. I've sent everything back and I've got a bunch of new parts and built it basically around the same lower receiver that I had. Other than that, I'm going to be taking my 35 Remington apart tonight and checking it for leading, getting ready. Kyle and I have plans to go to the range tomorrow, I hope, to shoot my third load of the 35 Remington stuff. And I need some opinions that
I've not seen your AR video yet, but I'll definitely check that out after we get done here because I can more than likely definitely help you out with that. It's kind of what I do. So I've not had a chance. In fact, I'm about I don't know, a week and a half behind on even watching videos, let alone having the weather to make one.
Yeah, but you had a kind of a family situation, didn't you?
Yeah, we had a family deal. Wife's grandmother passed, and she lived up in Pennsylvania, so they went up there and all that stuff. So we had that going on in the Memorial Day weekend, whatnot, and stuff with work. We've had some turmoil at work with swapping around some employees and whatnot. So it's been kind of hectic around my part, but getting through it. You know how it is.
Absolutely. We got Uncle Jim. Tim is here, but says that it's not working. So I'm going to have to find maybe another way. The Kyle says he's there, then he's going again, and he asked me to resend. So I'm going to have to maybe resend that stuff, and we'll figure that out.
Jim won't do.
Yeah, I'm Jamie. I'm actually looking forward to you naming names because that's part of the show for us is being able to tell people what we're seeing and what we're finding out about some of these companies because we have a lot of, I don't want to say like Johnny come lately, but we have some new companies involved, especially in the AR world. And if one of them is producing some substandard stuff, I have no problem calling them out, especially if you've tried and not getting anywhere with them.
Yeah, what's give us a little summary, Jamie, of what's going on. I'm not familiar, and we probably have some viewers that aren't familiar. So, give us a little bit of background as far as what you got going on.
Well, what happened was August of last year, I got an email from this particular vendor, and they were having a real good sale on AR-15 kits. Okay, now you got to understand that I'm an old school kind of guy. I got 2 Marlin 336s. I know practically nothing about ARs. So that being said, I ordered this kit at cheaper than anything I'd found on the internet, cheaper than Palmetto State Armory and so forth and so on. So I ordered this kit and got it in, started putting it together, and really I let it sit for a while. I really didn't jump off into building it, and I was looking at videos and stuff. So a little bit after Christmas time, I work for a school system, so we get time off at Christmas. So I put it together during the Christmas break, and that's about the time Kyle and I started meeting up and getting to know each other a little bit, and um, it just wouldn't cycle. It just, I took it out back here behind the house in the woods. I got 4 shots out of it, and then it just wouldn't cycle. It kicked the spent cartridge, the case out, but it wouldn't load the next round into the chamber. Well, I took it all apart trying to figure out what was wrong, and still the only thing I know about ARs is what I've seen on YouTube. So I'm down at Kyle's. The very first video I was ever in was at Kyle's house. We were doing an unboxing video from the molds that we won on Taco and Bacon's chat. We were talking about that, and that was only the second or third time I'd ever seen Kyle in my life. And I took this AR down there because he's got several, and we thought he would know a little bit more about it than I do. So I'm getting ready to go. I'm leaving, and I set my rifle down on the toe of my boot to open the door. Well, when I did, the muzzle end of the barrel gives about an inch to an inch and a half, just flops. And Kyle says, "Well, there's your problem right there. Your barrel nut's not tight." I said, "Oh, yes, it is. I tightened that thing up in a vise, man." And on it goes. And you can watch my video. My video pretty much picks it up from right there. So I get in touch with them and ask them to send me another barrel. And they said they would. Well, we went round and round and round and so forth and so on. So finally, I decided I'm going to send the whole kit back. I buy a Anderson barrel to go in it, and we get to the range. And I got another video about that. Kyle and I are shooting. Sometimes it goes off, sometimes it doesn't, but it's feeding. When it shoots, it does feed, but sometimes it just would not shoot. And we looked at the ones that didn't fire. They had primer strikes on them and everything. So at that point, I just decided, hey man, I'm going to tear this thing down. I'm going to box it up, and I'm going to send it back to these people and just get them to replace the whole kit. Well, and I do. And it cost $33, I think, to send this AR kit back. Okay, so let's stop and think. I bought this kit. I buy another barrel. I spend $33 to send that one back. So now whatever that kit cost, I'm into this thing another $110, $120. So people, if you're out there listening, let me tell you, you get what you pay for.
Did your barrel come with the gas nut already on it, or the gas block already on it, or did you have to put that on it yourself?
You talking about the barrel extension?
No, the gas block itself.
The gas block I put on.
Okay.
It was part of the kit.
How did you line up the holes on the gas block?
Well, that's something I don't really know, man.
All right, hold on.
But one thing, the barrel had a dent on the underside where the front screw tightened up into.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's a self-lining thing. I mean, the barrel and the gas nut all came, the gas block all came, and the tube all came in the kit. The only thing that didn't come in the kit was the lower assembly. So all I was supposed to have had to spend to have a functioning AR was the however much I spent on a stripped lower assembly.
I mean, it sounds like from what you're saying, it sounds like you've got two separate issues with the two things. The first one being gas related, with obviously it not cycling properly, and that could just be either the gas block is offset a little bit where it's not lining up with those holes right or something like that. The second part though, with the bullets themselves actually not going off when the gun does cycle, I can tell you a little story. I got a bolt carrier group from Palmetto, and Palmetto normally their premium bolt carrier group it's actually pretty decent, even though it's relatively cheap. And I can tell you that my firing pin was actually out of spec, and the spec on that, gosh, I can't quote the numbers off the top of my head, but I want to say it's supposed to be like the amount that it protrudes from the bolt face. There's actually a spec for that. It's like 24 to 32 thousandths or something like that. And
Right.
when I measured mine, it was only protruding 18 thousandths, so I had to actually sand down some on the base of the firing pin. And I'm wondering if you got something similar going on to where your firing pin's just not ejecting far enough that even though you're getting primer strikes and you're dimpling the primer, that for whatever reason you're not dimpling the primer enough to actually ignite the rounds to get them to go off. Make sense?
It makes sense, but it's a non-issue at this point because I've sent the whole thing back.
Enough to actually ignite the rounds to get them to go off.
There's the Emperor. It makes sense, but it's a non-issue at
Hello.
this point because I've sent the whole thing back.
Enough to actually ignite the rounds to get them to go off.
There's the Emperor.
Hello.
Hello, fellow gunner.
Hello. There's a little thingy down at the bottom. You got to check accept.
Kyle, did you hear that? There's a little thingy down the bottom. You got to check accept. Maybe that's where he's having trouble.
I hope so. How's the Emperor this evening?
I'm doing good, guys. How y'all doing?
Great, man. We're glad you could join us tonight.
Absolutely. Jamie, what you said that we didn't have anything kind of to talk about, and so you had some ideas. It's funny because I thought, well, you know what? We've talked about revolvers, we've talked about millisieves and everything, so I went and got my pistols and I set them over here in case that came up.
I was actually thinking of what's in your range bag.
Oh man, I can drag a range bag over here, but that's a
Yeah, we probably don't have enough time for that.
yeah, that's pulling out a mess, man. I keep a ton of stuff in mine. I might have 3 handguns in my range bag, and it'll weigh 55 pounds, just with everything else in it.
Be careful, don't overload it to the point where it rips your handles off when you pick it up. Be like a cartoon.
Hey Jamie,
Yes.
I'm screen sharing right now. If you look at what I'm posting as far as screen sharing on Brownells for $10, there's this little thing. It's called an AR-15 gas block aligner, and basically what it is it's 2 pieces of plastic that have got a little nipple in between them that holds them together. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put it down in the barrel where the hole of the gas block is, and then you slide your gas block on. You slowly start to tighten it up, then you turn the barrel upside down and let that plastic piece kind of slide through the gas block in the barrel, and then you tighten them down, and that'll make sure that your gas block is aligned properly to know for sure. And it might be worth something looking into, you know, if you got to rebuild another kit just to make sure your gas block is lining up right. But that's what I use when I'm doing, and essentially all you do is you just, once you get it lined up and you get everything tightened down, you just stick a cleaning rod down your barrel, and it'll snap one of those 2 little plastic pieces off, and then they'll both fall out. But that's actually how I ensure my gas blocks are lined up. And once you get that set and lined up properly, you can go from there to know for sure if just to make sure you're lined up there. And I think that would probably help you out quite a bit. I don't
Well,
know.
all I can think to say about that is what the emperor would say, and he would say, "What are these people going to think of next?" That's pretty cool, man. I'll definitely check that out.
We got an OP 25 GTFD from coming to us from work. He said that he's I guess he's probably on one of his 24-hour shifts or whatever it is that they're doing watching us. So glad to have you from the firehouse. We appreciate it.
Let me say something to him right quick. Thanks for the sub, man. You subbed on my channel this week. I appreciate that very much. Thanks, OP.
Yeah, OP brought up a good point. There actually is a video on let me look here. Where the hell did it go? Which one of these windows? There's actually a video on the on Brownell's website as far as how you're supposed to use that little gas block aligner. But I definitely use it, and it definitely works, and it's a pretty cheap solution to make sure you're doing that right, to make sure that lines up properly. So definitely worth looking into, Jamie. Like I said, for $10, it'll at least fix the gas block alignment issue. I know a lot of manufacturers definitely pre-dimple the barrels, but it don't always mean it's done right. You know that as well as I do.
Well,
oh yeah.
Johnny's reloading bench deal with that, trying to find where it needs to be for what particular load and for what particular usage, maybe a silencer or something. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of room for adjustment with that. Even if there is a dimple, that dimple might actually be a problem.
Well, and that's the thing. Like a lot of times, it depends on. So the gas port diameter itself, there's multiple different gas port diameters, right? So depending on whether you're running mid-length or rifle length or pistol carbine length, or they're going to size that gas port based on, first of all, what that rifle is chambered for, or what that barrel is chambered for, and then secondly, based off what that distance is supposed to be. So like, for example, on my Grendel, being a mid-length Grendel, it's a .750 diameter gas block hole. So they actually do size those properly. And then like you said, if I was going to go suppressed or something like that, I would probably need an adjustable gas block as opposed to just a regular gas block. But for running unsuppressed, just straight regular load, he should at least be getting cycling with the AR, if nothing else. It may not be ejecting where you want it to, but you definitely should be getting cycling as long as you're getting full gas flow.
Well, he's not getting with that rifle. I mean, if you watch the video, he's not getting full gas flow because his barrel isn't tight. It's loose internally, and it's like kind of flopping around, man. It is a scary looking deal when you got you've done everything right and you've got a malfunction like that for sure.
I got a question.
Kind of wanted to put too much pressure on it to begin with. Mooser, what actually happened was the barrel extension was coming loose from the actual barrel.
Did you torque it, Jamie, or did you just torque it by hand? What did you torque it to?
I didn't have a torque wrench. I torqued it till I felt like it was tight enough.
So there's actually a torque spec, and there's a proper way to actually install an AR barrel, and where this came from is kind of the problem that you're having. They had, when Colt was originally furnishing the ARs, they had sent a bunch overseas, and they had to go back and adjust their own internal torque specs because they were having loosening of the barrel nuts. So essentially what you're supposed to do is that torque spec is actually, it's pretty wide, but it's 30 to 80 foot-pounds. And what you do is you tighten it down, loosen it up, tighten it down, loosen it up, tighten it down a third time, time your barrel nut if it needs to be timed for your gas tube, shall not exceed 80 foot-pounds of torque. So generally what I do, if I've got a barrel nut that is not, doesn't need to be timed so that the gas tube can actually just go right on by and it doesn't have the little teeth, I'll start out at 40, put it on at 40, back off, bump up to 45, tighten down to 45, back off, bump up to 50, tighten down to 50, and then leave it there. But as far as putting together an AR-15 or any AR style rifle, torquing your barrel nut on properly is absolutely one of the most important steps for building an AR. And in my opinion, from all that I've built, if you do not have a torque wrench, you should not be building an AR-15. And it's that critical of a part and a spec.
Yeah.
And if the extension is loose, like the chap is saying here, that could happen from over tightening the barrel nut. I mean, the extension itself, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, it don't matter because it's gone.
Yeah, you're right about that.
That sucker's gone.
Jamie, what I need to do is I need to send you, shoot you my phone number, and when you get the new one in and you go to build it, we can just do one of these Google Hangouts, and I can actually even just walk you through it while you're building it on Hangouts. If you can get your phone or something like that while you're doing it, and we can make sure you're lined up the second time.
Got the psychic hotline to try to help Kyle Lusk be able to get online here. Says the Fuzzy Fork.
Kyle's getting his butt whooped.
Yeah, does anybody remember that? Like, I mean, what was her name, man? Oh, the psychic, like, fake Jamaican woman, late night TV back in the 90s. Call now, man, hilarious. They don't have good TV like that anymore.
Tim, do you have any experience with AR?
Not a bit. Not a bit.
Well, I'll show you one thing, and then we'll move on to something you do like. I got these rounds that I loaded for it. The one I shoot the most, I got a 18-inch heavy barrel, fluted barrel, and it feels weird to put a 5-shot group in a 30-round magazine. So I bought this little 10-round California compliant mag. I don't know if any of you guys have any experience with this particular company, but I got to give them kudos before we name names about the bad people. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong, if y'all have bad experiences, but this company is called Joe Bob Outfitters. And dude, you order something from them, and it's on its way. It's on its way to you. You get the stuff fast. One company I like is Trinity Force. I like them because, well, the name, they got to be believers if they name their company Trinity. So I like that about them, and they tend to make the stuff that I bought from them. It seems to be good stuff, and it's not real expensive, so I can actually afford to do it. But Tim, what's in that gun cabinet behind you? Got scopes hanging up in there?
Just the stuff I've had on video. There's the CAV or the CBA over here, and then the Remington 722, and then there's an OH&R shotgun, and the Mossberg 500, and then some pistols in there.
Cool.
I just found this control.
Nathan,
so the next time we have somebody on that's like might be a little bit loud, I think I can actually help the volume. Anyway.
All right. Don't worry, Kyle will be here in a minute.
Yeah, we need somebody. Kyle will be here to test it out on.
Nathan, that'd be a good subject for one of our chats one night, is our hunting rifles.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one. I'm just thinking, my hunting rifles are actually, I've got two basic hunting rifles. One that's just getting ready to get started in the concept, and the other one is a 303 Brit, which isn't really that interesting of a gun. But I was realizing today as I was going through, kind of pulling out some of my pistols and stuff like that, is that somehow or another, my collection of guns has gotten to a very cool point with me where everything I have I really want and I use and I like, but it's gotten real boring. I don't have as many weird kind of oddball pieces as I used to. Maybe that's something that, you know, maybe everybody needs to keep a couple of those in your collection. Like it, I know my dad, you know, I think about his collection. It's like very eclectic and interesting. Like every gun's a little bit different and weird. And I look at mine, it's like, you know, oh wow, a Versa 380, you know, 1911, great, you know. It's like, didn't know what everybody. I don't know.
I tell you one thing. It's a good point you bring up, Nathan. Is the fact that one of the areas that I've kind of got into is, you know, like I'm a 9mm guy. I know Jamie and Kyle, I believe, both are 40 guys. I kind of stand where you stand. That was a chat before I joined you guys as far as 9mm, but I'm a 9mm guy, and actually getting into 9mm carbines, I've found has really kind of expanded my collection quite a bit. Everything from a Scorpion to just the regular AR style 9mm carbine. I'm looking at picking up eventually. I want to get Ruger's new PC9, which is basically just like their 1022, but it's a 9mm carbine. So things like that I found, you know, I can kind of open my collection up a little bit and still really enjoy, and they're not real expensive to shoot, so you don't really feel bad about taking them out and doing something with them. So I've kind of gotten quite a bit of enjoyment out of those type of things. As far as expanding my collection and being a little bit less, well, these are my black rifles and these are my 9mm pistols and that's it. So that's kind of how I've solved that for me.
I'm going to solve it, I think, over hopefully over maybe the next year as I get into some kind of competition shooting. So if I get into 3-gun, I'm going to end up having to pick up some different pieces and you know, things like that, because I that's what right now somehow or another has kind of got a hold of me. But unfortunately today, I sat through and looked at receipts.
Uh-oh.
And started looking at how much so far I've spent just doing kind of getting everything ready for this for the reloading room and stuff, and I was very shocked at how quickly I ran through cash. And I'm like, okay, well, I think I need to hold up for a little while, slow down a bit. So I've gotten to a point, like I know where I'm at I'm going to get to a point where I can actually work in here and get everything done, but there's still a bunch of stuff that I want to do. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, I've got some jewelry I need to buy, a very patient young lady. You know, I got guns I want to buy. I've got, you know, it's like, there's only so much. So I got to figure out kind of that balance coming up throughout the summer. So we'll see. I might get new guns and get into comp, or I might just not, or I might not. I don't know.
Sales, man. Sales, like timeout. One of the things I like to do, as an example, Christmas time, I like to make sure for Christmas time that, you know, obviously I get everybody taken care of on my list of everything that I, you know, that I want to get, and want to make sure that, you know, I get everybody what I want to get them. And I also make sure that I set enough aside that I can actually get something for myself. And that's kind of like my yearly reward to myself. You know, that's how I justify it in my head anyways, because the prices are real good on everything. But, you know, picking out, like, I know 4th of July sales are coming up. You know, kind of plan your buying around some of those big major year sales, I've found has really helped me save quite a bit. Even though the receipts still hurt, they don't tend to hurt quite as bad. If and I'm not accusing you of doing this, but I know I've been guilty of it before. But if I go out and impulse buy something, I definitely will spend quite a bit more on it than if I've we got a Scotsman. But you there, Scots?
How y'all doing?
Hey, how's it going, boss?
It's going.
Man, I think the real problem, and I hate this kind of crap when it comes down to monopoly kind of stuff, but I think the real problem, and a lot of times, is when you don't have a Google or a Gmail account and stuff like that, it makes it so much harder to get on.
Oh, he doesn't have Gmail?
No, I'm sending it to his work email, which is a work proprietary type email. I'm guessing through probably Microsoft.
I can guarantee you what the problem is. The problem is that his work email, his work associated is stopping it from being allowed to do so.
Yeah, I mean that's why in the past what we've been able to do is I send it to him through his phone through a text, and then he was copying and pasting it into Google Hangouts and getting in that way, I think. But I don't know. It's funny because every week it seems like we have to figure out a new way to get Kyle on, and I don't know quite why. Now I'm getting upset or frustrated with him, or not with him, but with this, because it's like, man.
I think Kyle needs to do two things. Number one, get away from the damn iPhone and iPad and get a laptop. Quit being a lazy son of a bee and pick one up. And number two, get a Gmail account.
Yeah, you got to have Gmail. Now, I'll tell y'all that you sent me the link through the text. It didn't work. I had to get on through my Gmail account through the email link. The email one is one that worked.
Jamie, that's what I told him, is that you went through the same thing, and it seems like we're not able to get it through the phone this time like we've been able to get in the past. And I feel bad for him, man, because I love having Kyle on. So
the other way you can try is, I don't know if you should have the little plus button up on your screen there. If you click the plus button and then type in his email and send it direct, it should call him direct through Hangouts.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do. That's where I sent it the first time. I did it through, I know Google Plus will send it as well. And I haven't got it either one. I've tried both, and I haven't got it either way with him yet.
Hey, so I know we're talking about getting people on, but there's actually an interesting conversation going on with chat that I think might actually be something kind of interesting. I don't know what you guys think about, but to pull over onto here and talk about with each of us. But it's Fuzz here made the comment that new firearms are not as interesting as old firearms, and where's the other one? Uncle Jim made a comment that old equals heavy. So I think that might actually be a decent topic for us to get going with here. Is what are your guys' thoughts on new firearms versus old firearms, and what are your preferences?
And everything's got a purpose. I mean, everything's got its reason. Like I was more on the old firearms kick for the longest time, man. I wanted something that was made out of steel and was heavy, and the hell was that movie? If if it doesn't work, you can hit him with it. I don't remember the name of that movie, but recently I've gotten away from that, where I'm looking for striker fire pistols and some AR stuff for its purpose, and it has a purpose. It's just using guns for what the hell or what they're designed to do, I think is
See, and I'm kind of going the other way. So I started out as old school and was buying, old school revolver because that's my passion. I buy old Smith & Wessons. And then I started buying striker fire pistols, and I got away from that. Now all I'm buying is hammer fire pistols, and I'm actually getting rid of all my striker fire pistols, bar one. And going back to just, I really don't like striker fire. I don't know what it is. I just like a hammer fire gun.
I think it's the mushy feeling trigger.
And it's probably what it is. Honestly, I don't mind the double action, single action. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I like 1911. Tim's got something sweet. Show us. Yeah, baby.
I bought my new Star. Can y'all see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Star Model B.
BM. Got the nice little hammer on it. Oh, it won't release unless it's got the magazine 50.
I was gonna say, yeah, magazine disconnect.
Yep.
So that kind of fits the old firearm and the hammer thing too. They are.
Here's the new one.
Yeah, that's
the
just
Beretta, and it's double action only. So, but it still has a hammer.
Yeah. Is that the Nano?
That's the Pico, isn't it?
Oh, Pico.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the tiny one.
All those Italian words. I know enough Italian to eat. Would you allow me to demonstrate?
You know what Pico stands for, right?
Tell us.
Hold on, is this a PC channel or not? I'm not sure if I can say it.
Can you say beak or peak?
We'll leave it at that. We'll move on.
Yeah, I'm actually just the opposite. I enjoy the older firearms, Like for example, I've got a new neighbor who's in the Air Force, and he's got a really sexy SIG 226 Legion. It's single action only, and he's got the trigger in it is feather light. It's got to be like a 3.5 pound trigger, and it's nice and all, but I don't know. I personally prefer the striker fired guns, especially if you've got one with a decent trigger. Like CZ's P10C, Walther comes with good triggers and whatnot. So I think if you've got a striker fired gun that's got a decent trigger in it, I definitely prefer that to the older style. That doesn't mean I don't like them and that I don't have some of them, but excuse me. As far as carrying and whatnot, I definitely carry a newer striker fired gun than I would older, what I call range guns.
No, but see, that's the thing. Like, I love the hammer fire, and I'm getting more into the single action cocked and locked only, and all of those. I love them. I don't know why. I just love them. The triggers are so much better. They're so much smoother. It's crisper, clean, and you know exactly what you're getting every time you pull that trigger. With a striker fire pistol, it's not always the same pull, even though they technically say it is. It's not. If you break it down, you measure it out, and take either the trigger gauge puller and do that, or take the electronic one, you're going to get a different one every time. Now, the biggest difference is going to be like with an old school Smith & Wesson versus a striker fire. The Smith & Wesson is going to be more consistent on that pull every single time. It's going to be a minute difference. Whereas a striker fire, it could be anywhere from a minute difference to a very large difference.
Yeah, I think that realistically comes down to the trigger itself and the company itself that's making the trigger. Like I know Glock triggers are all over the place. I like Glock handguns, so I'm not bashing on Glocks, but Glock triggers are all over the place, whereas my Walther triggers are freaking smooth, consistent, and nice. So
it's all right, man. You can bash on Glock. It's okay.
Glock is a pretty high point.
I tell you what, when I will say this: when I go tracking at night, and I bring an AR pistol with me, but in my gun belt, the gun that is my tracking gun that goes with me is a 9mm Glock 19. So say what you want about them, but that's the gun that I choose to take with me out in the woods at dark in the middle of the night looking for deer, hogs, or whatnot. So
Rob, I think what's interesting about Glock, in my opinion, and this is straight up an opinionated thing, is that Glocks function very well. That's what they're designed to do. They function under any circumstances. They don't necessarily have to be overly accurate. They don't necessarily have to have the best trigger in them. They're just very functional, and that's why I said the Glock is a pretty high point, because that's what a high point does. It's not manufactured to a specific, like, really great tolerance or anything. It just functions all the time. It's just big and bulky and ugly, and it's like $15, and none of us want to be associated with it. If you rose the price and it shaves some extra steel off of it, you got a Glock.
See, where I would disagree with you there is I understand the comparison you're making, but I think Glock definitely has, whether you like Glock or you don't, they've got a track record there that shows that consistency. There's a reason why people are diehard Glock fanatics, and it is backed up with numbers.
Yeah, but
like even Mr. Guns and Gear's got a video. I don't know if you've seen it.
Glock hit the market at a time where the market was open.
Yeah,
and that's why Glock is as successful as they are. They hit it right at the moment they needed to, and on top of that, when they did so, they sold it the best way they knew how, which was using various different military stars. They had the law enforcement programs, all of that stuff, and combined, that's why Glock got the name it got.
Even with all of that though, and I see Kyle's here. So Kyle, you're jumping into the middle of a hot one here. We're talking about we're talking about Glocks right now, and this is apparently hit some nerves. But
hey, I've got a Glock story. I've got a Glock story when y'all are ready.
So the thing about Glocks, and if you go through some of the military trials and some of the studies that have been done, like there's a reason that SOCOM and the Navy SEALs are carrying Glock pistols, and it's not because of any marketing hype or anything else other than the fact that, like Nathan said, they just flat out work no matter what. And I think that's the thing with Glock. Like if you look at SIG, the 320 has been a disaster. The new 365 has got the firing pin drag that it's having problems with. And those are two strike and fire guns from SIG. You know, SIG is a good company that you would expect to be putting out good firearms, but they're having all kinds of problems. There's lots of companies out there that are still trying to perfect striker fired pistols, and Glock has been doing it for years now. In fact, they've been doing it so long that people are kind of getting tired of Glocks.
I'm going to tell you, as someone in the industry, you're never going to hear the problems that happen with Glocks, because the people that have Glocks and that love Glock so much never tell you they have an issue. But I can tell you, I've sent so many damn Glocks back for repair, it's not even funny.
Yeah, I've heard that, Scotsman, as well. One of the things I think is interesting about a lot of different firearms, and I think YouTube is helping with this, is the firearm industry was really, really a bought and paid for industry. You paid your magazine people, and they got people to write articles, and you gave them guns. And you see this a lot with even the YouTube reviews. Who's giving who guns?
Yep.
And that is a big part of what's pushing. Like, if so, you give somebody a review, like Hickok, you give Hickok a gun for review. He's not able to put 20,000, 30,000 rounds through this, gives you an honest review or anything. I was reading earlier about a particular firearm magazine who reviews firearms, but only after they've been in production for a little while. And then what they do is, if they have a problem with it, they send it back and give the factory many opportunities to send them a firearm that works to, it's like, what are you doing? And then you're not putting that in there. This thing failed 3 times leading up to a successful firearm test. So I really do think that's been one of the things that has gone on.
It didn't fail 3 times. It failed with 3 different firearms multiple times enough to make him send the shit back.
Absolutely. And
yeah, it's funny that you bring up Hickok 45, because so many people, and this one gets me too, and you can take this for what it is, but he shoots the 80-yard gong or 70-yard gong, whatever it is. It's not 80 yards or 70 yards. You're forgetting that big fat dip in the middle of his yard. It's not an 80-yard shot. It's like a 30-yard shot.
Well, I think it's a little bit longer than that, Scotsman, and it's a big gong. It's a good shot. It's fine. It's cool.
It is, but I mean, actually, I agree with Scotsman. He like took one of them measuring wheels and started from the front, went all the way down the hill, started going back up the hill. You're 50 yards away, but it's measuring 82.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of gotten off into talking about well, not just Hickok, but as far as the reputation and what YouTube used to be and gun reviews used to be. So like if we take dear God, who the hell am I thinking of? I was just thinking his name. What the hell? The guy out in Utah.
There's a few.
The one who's been around forever. The guy who's had his channel for like 1 million years.
Continue.
Yeah, hold on.
Sure, but I kind of agree with the reloading room. It really is. It's a sellout market, and I see it too, because trust me, I get companies that come to me on a daily basis and go, "Hey, if you carry our product, I'm going to give you 10 holsters so every one of your employees can have one."
Right, and where I was going with that is, you take like Nut and Fancy, who is, he's quirky, and we all know that, and the guy's kind of a little bit funny, but he's actually one of the few reviewers that does not accept anything from companies.
That's true. Every review he gives is true.
So,
and I've had companies reach out to me and ask me, and I tell them straight, I'm like, look, you got 2 things. You can, I'll take your product, absolutely, but if I don't like it, if there's a problem with it, I'm going to say it how it is. And if you don't like my review, tough, and 9 times out of 10, I don't get a damn thing, because I'm too honest. I'm too brutal.
Let me jump in here for a second, because I'm a little bit late. Nathan, whatever the hell you just did to send me that email, whatever you changed.
I send it to Gmail. I sent it to that Gmail account that you just gave me.
But you sent it to me like 3 times.
Telling you, man, I sent it to you 1 million different times, but that last one was the one to that Gmail, and all of a sudden now you're on. That's what.
No, because you sent me one, I went right back to my damn dead chat, and then my phone went ba-bing, and I went, oh, okay. join, yeah, whatever, continue. Oh shit, we're on.
That's what it does when you send it to a Gmail account. It'll send you the email, but it'll also send you the actual invitation thing.
Yeah, like when
it just took a minute for it to get here.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's my
it's just
Gmail
like
account.
when I'm
Don't lose it.
it's just like when I made the statement, you know, I don't join chats unless I'm invited because I don't.
Well,
My
I'm sorry,
phone
brother,
started
but I
buzzing
was
with an
inviting you
invite
to say,
from the reloading room that he was calling me.
It
You know.
was weird. It was weird. I've got a really good Glock story. If we want to talk Glock stories,
Yeah, go for it.
I've never been a Glock fan. I've been a 1911 fan since the day I first acquired my first 1911, and I can't tell you how old I was because it was legal in the box. I've since owned several, and most of them are hot rodded. Now, you know, they got trigger jobs, different springs, and all that stuff. They do what I want to do with them. I was always one of those guys that said, you couldn't give me a Glock. I can't hit the broadside of a barn standing in the damn thing. Because they were just always inaccurate to me. And then, because I've shot several of them. My buddy had a brand new Glock. And I can't remember because it's been years ago. I can't remember what model it was. I'm never good with the models. It was a 9mm. He hands it to me. He goes, here, you can have the first shots. I'm like, okay. We got a bunch of clay pigeons in pine trees. And I start shooting, and I hit one. And he goes, well, you just can't shoot. And so I pulled my 45 off my hip, went with two eyes open without missing a beat. Bop, 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 bop. And he goes, okay, yeah, it's the gun. Got it. Then a local store down the street from where I work had police trade-in Glocks. 19s. Those are 9mm, long slide 9mm.
17's the long side, 19's
17. Thank you. See, I'm telling you, I'm not good with the numbers.
Well,
anyway,
the problem is Glock
like,
has so many numbers that it's just ridiculous. There's no way you can know them all.
Right. I don't know if I want this or whatever. And another guy that I go shooting with, he has a Glock. It was a 40 caliber, and that's the only Glock I've ever been able to accurately shoot. And he goes, look, go buy one of them police trade-ins. If you don't like it, I'll pay you. Bring me the receipt, and I'll pay you every penny that you paid for it, and we'll go transfer it. I'm like, hell, you can't go wrong with this, right? So I went down there and bought it. I took it down to the shooting property and started playing with it. I'm like, hey, it's really not bad. It's already got the Trijicon night sights and stuff on it. You know, it's $300. I'm like, yeah, this ain't bad. And then I took it to Glock, and I said, just go through it because it's a police trade-in. I don't know what's worn out. I don't know anything about Glocks. They took through it, but put whole spring kit and everything, new front pin spring and all that stuff, and gave it back to me, and hell, it shot even better. I was like, whoa. And then they had Glock 21s, which are 45 calibers. Same thing, $325. You can have a police trade-in. It's already got the night sights and all that on it. So I bought one of them, and I shot it, and I was really impressed with that. I like both of the Glocks that I own, but I've shot a bunch of them that I wouldn't use to tie a boat down with.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I think it really comes down to a lot of Glocks, because of their different grip angle, because of the bore access on them, and this, that, and the other. There's a number of different factors that make them different than most other guns on the market, that until you actually get used to shooting them, they don't shoot like anything else. I mean, just the grip angle alone makes them difficult to shoot when compared to, like you're saying, a
Right.
1911 or something like that. But realistically, when you're counting ounces, like I was talking to Nathan about before we started, I was out trudging through the woods or trudging through a field last night, and you know how much rain we've had down here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was sinking literally down to my calves in muck boots trying to drag this deer out of a field. And I am definitely glad that I had my Glock 19 on my holster and not like my 357 revolver on my holster, because at that moment in time, ounces and pounds made a difference of me getting that damn deer out of there. And, you know.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. And I agree with what you're saying about grip angles and stuff like that, which might have been why I wasn't able to shoot a Glock to begin with. I've had the ones that I've had for 3-4 years, but I've had my 1911s for oh Lord, I'm fixing to show my age. I've had my 1911s for almost 25, 30 years.
Well,
No, but what you're saying makes sense because, like, for me, I got a pretty decent sized hand, and so I have to have a large grip, and that's kind of why the old school revolvers work well for me with the wood grips because they're big and they're fat grips.
Yeah, big
well,
fat
who
hand.
who would anybody disagree with the statement that a heavier gun is easier to shoot than a lighter gun?
I'll disagree with that.
Will you really?
Why? I'm curious why, because that to me,
It depends on the circumstance.
Well, here's the other thing. We're all reloaders. It actually depends on the load and the bullet and the caliber and everything else.
Let's just say
It all makes a big
ammunition.
difference.
Factory ammunition. We're not talking reloads because I can hand tune a reload
Right,
inject a 9mm, but it won't lock the slide open, and my point of aim never changes.
It also
let's just talk. Go to Walmart, buy a box of Winchester.
Well, it also depends on where the weight's at. For instance,
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
If you're looking at like if you're talking about one of those little Ruger LCRs or something like that, I mean, that gun's it might as well be it's just a pocket gun. The thing's in your hand. It's going to be hard to shoot. But if you're talking about full size type guns, I mean, do you have is the weight real high? Is it down in your hand? Is it at the end of the barrel?
And the other thing that's going to factor into that too, depending on what kind of gun it is it one that's recessed in the slide? Is it one that sits on top? All kinds of stuff are going to come into play.
Do you have the mass down here to counteract the action that's going to come up here when it's fired? So you have a fatter, like that's what I love about that Ruger Red Hawk. It's got a fat bottom on it, so it's got some mass down there that once the gun's fired, it has to move that mass. But it's all about where the weight is, I guess. Jamie, what are you laughing at?
Go ahead, Tim. I heard what you're thinking.
Emperor, come on, man. Emperor,
say something, Tim. What the hell? Come on.
Speak up.
He's thinking fat bottom girls make the wrecking world go round.
He ain't wrong.
Tim, you've been awful quiet, sir. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm glad I could get a hold of you, and I'm glad your link worked. I don't know why mine didn't, but are you on my computer or your phone?
I'm on my phone. It was my ignorance that I didn't scroll up far enough to have this little square down at the bottom you're supposed to check says accept.
Yeah, continue or accept. Yeah. I've been accepting myself into a dead chat for a long time. And then the last link that he sent me, boom, right in. I don't understand it. It must be Apple.
Gmail, man, Gmail.
I know, brother. I know.
All right, so the Emperor is our special invited guest tonight, and we hadn't let him say hardly anything. Tim, what have you been working on this week?
I really haven't been working on too much. I've been trying to get some of these Lusky 380s loaded.
With some,
I haven't got it done yet.
Powder.
Do what?
Probably with some shotgun powder. You picked the wildest powders I've ever seen. Y'all probably don't know this, but Tim puts a video out and I'll comment on it and I'm like, tight group. I'm screaming, tight group, power pistol, CFE pistol, anything but 410.
But hold on. Here's the thing, Jamie. He doesn't like it tight. He likes fat bottom girls.
Oh, that's right.
You did it.
I'm telling you, man, Tim, you've really inspired me to look around because I found your videos when you were in the process of taking all these wild ass shotgun powders and trying to turn them into 357s or whatever. And you've really inspired me, and because there's no load data in it anywhere.
Right.
You have to work on it. It's kind of like me and these 485 grain 45 rounds, or 44 Magnum rounds. There's no load data on this anywhere. I had to just play with it. And like me and Jamie found out, hey, that's too hot. Don't shoot that again. But man, I really appreciate what you do, brother. I really do.
Yeah, for real.
I try.
Tim, you're an awesome guy, man. You've been on my channel. I don't even know how long. You've been on my channel for a long, long time, and I've been watching you for a long time too. And you're an awesome guy. You do a lot, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, we're honored to have you with us tonight, man.
No, you guys humble me so much.
Oh, come on. Go ahead and blush for us, Tim. Come on.
I want to ask his opinion. I want to ask Tim's opinion and the Scotsman's opinion. I don't know if any of y'all watch Gavin Tube, the Ultimate Reloader.
Sure.
He put out an
What did you just say about Hickok? Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Advertisement. Yeah, I got it.
I was wondering if anybody's seen his video that he put up this week about that eight turret lineman press. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'd have to see it in person. I don't know how here's a problem I had with my Lyman T-Mag, my old one, was that it didn't have a good support for the turret head. And I had a fair amount of rock, so I was getting some concentric problems. Now, I say all that when I just have a brand new T-Mag 2 that I'm getting ready to bolt to my new bench. So, because this thing has the adjustable stop on for the turret head, so it'll take care of that. The new one doesn't appear to have that.
Oh, hold on, I missed that. What was that you got there?
It's a T-Mag 2.
Okay.
How many turrets does it have?
It's a 6-hole.
Okay.
That looks fun. I'm looking forward to your video on that there, Nathan.
That brings up a good topic. I'm used to, and this is gonna sound funny, but I'm only used to having 4 holes.
Yeah. How many holes
so
are too many?
What do you do with 6?
I could tell you what I do with 7 with my T7.
No, please. It's a serious question.
So for me, having the T7, the Reading T7 is nice in the fact that I keep a universal decapping, die in here, and that die never leaves the press. And then because I've got right now I've got my 6.5 Grendel series going on. So that set of dies stays in that press and doesn't move. I don't have to readjust them. I don't have to do anything. All I've got to do is roll myself over to that spot and, double check the first couple of rounds or brass or wherever it is I'm at in the reloading process. And they're pretty much dead on from where I left them the last time. Then I can rotate around. The other set of dies I've got on here right now is 223. Excuse me, and I can just rotate right to those dies, and they are already set, and it's just a matter of just rotating the head of the press.
That's nice. I can see that.
I just find that to be awfully damn convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
There's a couple different reasons why I like it, and there's just circumstances in which, while it could be enough, I just like more. There's different times where I'm doing load development stuff that especially if I'm going to do any kind of cartridge conversion stuff, where having 6 is definitely useful. I think OP said something about the Gavin talked about the beefed up strap on the All-American 8 to support the turret head. The thing with that is what I don't understand is how they're keeping the tolerance. That tolerance has to be really, really tight in there. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. The other thing I didn't like about it that I saw, Jamie, was the way the new priming system works with that turret head seems to be a Rube Goldberg machine rather than something that was designed well. So it looks like something that somebody added on, if it makes sense to you. It's like the turret's in the way of it. It's too close to the turret. The handle's going to end up hitting. I don't know. I'd have to see it in operation first.
And here's kind of why I made the comment. Here's kind of why I made the Hickok comment in regards to Gavin Tube. And the reason for that is exactly what you're saying right now, is the fact that say it was, and it doesn't really matter who, but say it was somebody else who had that review on that turret or on that specific press, do you think we might still be having these questions or asking these same questions if it was somebody else that did that review initially? And
No.
that's just my overall point, is the fact that like, it's nice to watch Gavin Tube and see some of the new stuff that's coming out, but until somebody else gets their hands on it and reviews it, I've kind of got to take it with a grain of salt, because very similar to Hickok, I don't ever see him reviewing something that he doesn't like or he doesn't think works well. And is we, along with being reloaders, we've all got channels, and if in all of our channels as they're growing and whatnot, we never come across anything that either doesn't work well or just doesn't really do what we want it to do, that's gonna seem kind of fishy when you've been doing videos for 5 or 6 years and you don't have anything on your entire channel you've come across you don't like.
And I agree with that. And that is total horse crap, that you've never found anything you don't like.
That's my point. That's the only point I'm making. I'm not saying that
Right.
he puts out bad reviews or anything else like that. I enjoy watching his channel, but I don't necessarily. I take the information with a grain of salt, and that's just my view on it. I'm not trying to start a war, God forbid.
No, you're not. You're not starting a war. We're just expanding on it. We're expanding on a war. I took a Dillon powder measure and tried to make it work with a Lee Loadmaster. I tried all kinds of stuff, permanent fixes, temporary fixes, because I'll change it from caliber to caliber. And what I found out, the best thing that worked, I would take the little chain and run it up through the Dillon's action and come back down and put a damn plastic zip tie in there. It worked consistently every time. Did I make a video on it? I tried to, and then I said, hell no, I'm not putting a video out on this shit. Yes, your old Dillon powder chargers will work on a Lee Loadmaster. You're just going to have to rig it up a little bit with Band-Aids, duct tape, and a little dental floss. I'm not putting a video out on that shit. I mean, yeah, it works. I can show you how if you want.
That's what Elvis did with a Lee. So, Scotsman, what are you using as a press? What press do you use?
Right now I have the Lee turret press, which I have my 9mm on. However, I am going to be transitioning here fairly soon to the 650, the Dillon 650 for my 9mm. I also picked up a Square Deal B for my 357 mag. And on top of that, I still have to figure out what I'm going to put 308 on and 223. And 44 is going to be going on the Lee turret. I'm going to switch my 9 out to the 44 on that. And the 9mm is going to be going to the Dillon 650 when I'm done with all that. So right now I'm kind of in the same boat as the reloading room. I'm transitioning and rebuilding mine essentially. My reloading room is very, very small. It's basically a sunroom in my apartment. So I have one bench right now, but I plan to put 3 presses on the one bench. So the bench is going to end up moving just a little bit, and I'm going to get a secondary bench to put all the other supplies, my sonic cleaner, my brass dryer, and all the additional accessories and stuff that I use will go on the secondary bench.
Scotsman, if I can, man, I don't know how big the primary bench is going to be, but 3 presses is going to get jammed up usually.
It will. Hey, let me exaggerate on that point. Scotsman, I don't know if you load 300 blackout, but I've got one Lee Loadmaster press for 223 and 300 blackout. Excuse me. All you have to do is go clink with a new turret in the top. Now for 9mm and 40 caliber, which I shoot a lot of, I shoot a lot of 9mm and 40 caliber. I actually reload about 1,000 rounds a week and blow through them. Those will both run off the same Lee turret press or Loadmaster with automatic case feeders and all that stuff. All you have to do is just change the turret, put your 40 caliber dies in, everything on the bottom of the shell plate, all that's the same. Now, what I'm doing for like 308, 30-06, 220 or not 220, it used to be 243. I've since gotten rid of the rifle. That stuff, all the large primer stuff goes on my Dillon 550. and the oddball stuff, which I used to think was oddball, but like 44 Magnum, 44 Special, 357, 35 Remington, all that stuff, I'm using in a Lee 4-hole turret press. So I've got 5 presses, and I'm covering the entire gamut of everything I shoot except for a shotgun.
Yeah, I'm personally what I'm trying to get, or what I've done, because I've had 2 presses, one on either side of my bench for years. That's why I've always reloaded. And I'm trying to set it up sort of in the same vein where I have one that's going to be kind of more my progressive, and then one that's going to be the bigger turret press. That's going to do, you know, whatever else that doesn't go onto the progressive. And then I want another one for doing bullet sizing and stuff. So I'm going to end up with 3 presses as well. But the way my bench is going to be laid out, each bench has, or each press has like 3 or 4 feet on, you know, to its own. Because that's one of the problems I ran into, is just not having enough room to lay everything out. So then what would happen is like the back of my bench would end up getting piled up with shit.
Oh, you mean kind of like this?
Exactly. Where if I keep one press on there, if I keep the amount of presses down, I organize better. It just helped me out. I know that everybody has their own way, and that with Jamie, don't get me wrong with that All American 8. I think it's going to be probably a pretty good press. Lyman makes good stuff, and I worry about. I worry about them making this big changeover all at once, but the price point seems to be really, really good, and I think it's something to consider. I mean, my first bet, if somebody told me that money was an object, I'd tell them to go get a 650 and get a T7.
So let me ask you this then. So I see where you guys are going. So since I'm buying another bench anyway, or I may build a bench, I'm not quite sure which one I'm doing yet. Should I just put 2 presses on one bench, and then, because I plan on buying another press as well, because I want to get a single stage at some point too. So should I just put 2 presses on one and 2 presses on the other and call it good?
I say put one press that's permanent, that's not going to move, and then put the other one, use the inline fab or whoever else to have one that you can change out. If you want.
I've got something to say about that. Go ahead, Nathan. Hang on, let me get the props.
Yeah, I just think that's probably a pretty good way to handle it. If you have one press that you're going to use for a lot of different things, and it's going to be standard, and you don't want to change it out, stick it where it needs to be, and then take your other one and put it on a changeable mount. I just think that's probably the best bet for versatility, yet keeping everything organized.
Well, say you get like the new Lyman press or the Redding T7 or something like that. What use do you really have for a single stage at that point if you've already got like a T7, for example, that you can use as both a turret press manually or the single stage? Do you realistically need a second press when, if you fill up 7 or 8 damn heads like the Redding or the Lyman, just pop another head on and you're good to go?
Well, and I was looking at those too, and again, I'm still fairly new to this, so you got to give me a break, guys. I've only been reloading for a while here, a little bit, probably the last, I don't know, 7 months, 8 months. So give me a break. But it's all been on this turret press. It's all been 9mm. I haven't really reloaded anything else as yet, but I have about 3,000 cases of 44 mag. I probably have about 1,500 cases of 357.
Wait a minute. How many cases of 44 mag?
About 3,000.
Hey, you need my address?
No, I need you to send me more.
You need some 9mm brass? You need some 40 brass? Need some 45?
I'll take 9mm all day, dude. I go through 9mm like water.
Okay, I'll trade you 10 9mm for 144.
I tell you what, man.
I'm not kidding.
I tell you what. You send me your address, man. I'll put a care package together for you.
I can send you about 15,000 9mm if that's what you want.
I'll take every last dang one I can get, dude. I literally.
There's bucket number 1.
This year for me was supposed to be competition year, and I literally been so busy with my new job. I have not gotten out and shot more than a couple times every month, and I work every week.
Sucks,
I still work every weekend, and most competitions are on the weekends. So
yeah, well, I understand.
So for me, it really sucks in that regard. And I've been wanting to do more reloading. And again, I've kind of gotten away from that too because I'm always at work. And when I get home and I end up, I jump on here and
Oh, I know.
I'm watching videos, or if someone says, "Hey, you want to jump in?" Sure, I'll jump in. And
then all of a sudden it's time to go to bed, and like, damn.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it rolls, But no, seriously, I got so many different things I need to get done and reloaded, and yeah, man, I'll take 9mm all day long because trust me, I need it.
All right, you on Slack? I don't think you are. Are you?
Yeah, I'm on Slack.
Okay, hit me up on Slack. Send me your address. I'll put something together for you and shoot it your way.
Kyle, kill that light on that press for a second. Let me see something. That light, yeah, it's coming through better without the light. The light's too much.
I just turned it on that way I could light up the night.
Yeah, no, we can't see a damn thing on that press when you got the light on. With the light off, it's good to go.
I was gonna say, Kyle, you got my email. Why am I gonna message you on Slack when you have my email?
Man, either way, Slack's a little bit easier. Shit, I don't know. This was the very first press
I think, and I'm pretty sure that the Emperor is gonna back me up, as well as Jamie and everyone else in here, that you know what, you're too used to your damn iPhone and your iPad. Get off of that crap and get with the new world age, which is Google, man. Google.
Yeah, I'm just not willing to submit to the new world order yet.
Wait a minute.
This was the first press I ever bought.
World order.
And I bought all the tool heads and everything to load 223, 9mm, 40, 45. I had everything all set up, and all I had to do was change stuff. I finally got tired of changing the primer size. It's not that it takes so long to do. It's just a problem. It's one more step. And then I got to doing a bunch more rifle stuff and all that. And so I bought this Lee turret press, which my very first turret head had a universal decapping die, a 308, a 223 case trimming die in it. And I used it as a single stage, period, nothing else. And that served my needs. And then I started pumping out other stuff. And this is fast enough for 9mm. I mean, about as fast as your thumb can work, as long as this hand can keep up,
Hold on, do that again for me, please.
No.
So
I don't think I don't think we can keep up.
This part. But anyway, I've never had a problem with the Dillon 550, and I've never had a problem with the Dillon 650. It's just, and I shoot a crap load of 9mm. I can load, for the money, because I shoot 40 and 9mm. The Lee Loadmaster, the case, the faceplate, and the hold buttons, or not hold buttons because it's a damn Lee. Anyway, the shell plate and everything is the same for 40 and 9mm. All you have to do is just change out the stuff you're putting in it. Change the turret head and go to it. And you can actually pump out a lot of rounds on the Lee Loadmaster, and it's not that expensive. I was so happy with the one I bought for 223. I bought one for 9mm.
Tim, what kind of presses are you using? I don't think I've ever seen your press.
are you talking to me?
Tim.
Oh.
No, that's a good question, actually. Tim, I don't think Tim's ever shown his press, only his loads.
No, Tim uses a rock chucker. Tim does.
It's actually a junior.
Oh, okay. That's what you need to do. Find one thing and just stick with it.
And he does, and he loves it, and it works.
Had it for years.
How old is it, Tim?
I'm going to say about 20 years, at least. I started out with one of them nutcrackers.
That's a good point. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love the turret press. I love the Lee turret press. It works great.
What you say about crackers? I've been eating crackers all afternoon.
The one thing I don't like is the priming system. That's the one thing I do not like about the Lee turret press is the priming system. It sucks.
The turret press or the Loadmaster?
The turret press.
Well, actually, I found the Turret Master's more reliable than the Loadmaster.
It's a pain in the butt, dude, and that's honestly that's usually the longest part of the entire process on that turret press.
It is, yeah. I agree with that, Scott.
But other than that, I like it. I do. I like it, and I still want to use it, and that's why I'm going to switch it out and use it for the 44, and take the 9 and put the 9 on the 650.
Well, that's what these are right here, 44.
One of the things that I've done recently is I used to recommend that Lee anniversary kit for new reloaders, and I've stopped and I've started recommending that the RCBS, I think the partner or whatever it is, that kit, it's the components of it you'll keep longer than you will the Lee stuff.
Right.
Because that my thing is me and that Lee safety scale are just
right. I can agree with that, Nathan.
The basic Lee scale that comes with the press, if you buy the kit, sucks.
Yeah, it's
absolutely sucks. And I can verify it because the problem is that I had, for example, when I first started, that's what I went with because, hey, that's what came with it, right?
Yeah.
And you'd think they would send you a quality product for you to get started because that's the entire reason you bought the starter kit. Well, what I did was I ended up going out and I bought the Hornady electronic weight, the weight measure.
Mm-hmm.
And you would go from one to the other, and there'd be a big difference. It wouldn't be 0.1 of a grain or 0.2 of a grain. It'd be 0.5, 0.6, 0.7.
Wow.
It was huge numbers that shouldn't be there. Big differences.
Yeah, that's a serious issue when you're loading 9mm or something like that, where a half a grain one way or the other can, especially a half a grain hot, can really.
Yeah, a half a grain's a lot in a 9mm, depending on the powder you're using.
Absolutely. That was my first thing was I got that Lee anniversary kit, and I got rid of almost all of it over time. I think I probably still have something around, but that RCBS kit is really, really nice. Tim, that's why I brought it up. I said my dad has one of the RCBS Juniors. That's what he's used since. Well, I'm about to turn 39, so I'm going to say he's had it for about 35 years, and it's done way more work than any smaller press should ever do. So I'm a firm believer that almost any well-made press, any cast well-made press can do almost anything. He's done case reforming and all kinds of crap with that little press. So, and it's not even really that compound of a linkage. So
make sure you get a nice cast iron press and be done with it.
Yeah, the Lee one comes with that little, or it came with that little aluminum Challenger one. And right. I can tell you the one that used to get me really bad with Lee was the way that they disposed of primers, whether it was in the body of the press, which reminds me of like when you used to put razor blades in your medicine cabinet. Like, so who designed that kit?
Then you move the press and
yeah.
And speaking of that, I had showed when I first got this reloading bench was this is solid. You ain't moving this. You have to, and I was going to build a universal mount. You were talking about Gavin tube and the not strong mounts, but inline fab stuff. Yeah. I was looking at the inline fab stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'll just make one. I got a plasma cutter, a welder, and some steel laying around. Not a problem. You know what's holding these presses to these tables?
Wood. Hopes, dreams. Bubble gum. Cheese nip dust.
Magnets.
No, not Cheez-It dust.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm serious, dude. The shit's not moving.
Hold on. Stop. Are you kidding me right now?
Hang on, I'll move the camera. Let me clamp everything.
All right, I'm gonna say this, and the reloader dude, don't take this the wrong way, but man, that's straight up freaking Southern Georgia boy right there.
The reloader dude's in Oklahoma. He's not even in Georgia. Oh, crap. Jesus.
Go!
I stepped
them clamps for your phone.
The cable. I'm sorry.
All excited for that cheese nip dust. Get y'all jacked up.
Okay. You see the Loadmaster? There's some C-clamps on that bastard. Of course, that's just there to hold it. It normally sits right here, which is where my Lee is. And it's got a pair of regular vice grips, a pair of those right there. I'm telling you, man, it works great.
I think Kyle's
Call me
going to get a
redneck,
new
call me
nickname.
what you will.
I think Kyle needs a new nickname. Kyle will no longer be Kyle Lusk. It is now the Vice Grip Man.
Yeah.
Kyle, you don't belong in the northern part of the. You don't belong in the northern part of the state, brother. You belong down here in the southern part of the state with me.
You need to get down here where we're
A lot of people say I belong in Alabama.
Fix everything.
How about we
Hey,
just
can I
call
talk
him
about a new
early?
subject? Are we done talking about presses?
Yeah, no, wait. Well, I would say one thing I did want to mention, because I was kind of bashing on Lee for a minute. The newer Lee presses are really, really nice. So any of you guys out there, we got 18 viewers. Any of you guys looking to buy one of the newer presses, take a look at Eagle Eye Shooting videos.
Oh, yeah, Kenny made a great one, yeah.
He does a really good review on those presses, and they're very well made, great quality. So that's another good option as well. But the older Lee presses, like, you know, the handles coming off and shit and dumping primers inside. I don't know what.
The only problem I have with my Lee press is kind of like I was talking about, is the primer system. And what I mean by that is I'd say about half the time when you go to prime it, the primer falls out and doesn't go where the primer's supposed to go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my cast does that. My classic cast does that.
And it's a pain in the ass, absolute pain in the ass. Then you're looking for primers that are falling in the carpet. And I don't know about you, but I literally have picked up, I don't know how many primers that I've vacuumed that have popped with the vacuum, you know, and it's just bad. You don't want that to happen.
I was going to tell you, brother, do not vacuum that stuff up. If you know that they're used, that's one thing. Don't vacuum live primers, because that'll blow the canister right out of a damn Dyson. Trust me.
But that's the problem. That's the problem. Like in this carpet, you can't find them. You can't.
Oh, you got
And I picked up 3. I think it's 3 or 4 last week after I vacuumed, and I kid you not, I found 3 or 4 primers that popped when I had the vacuum on them.
My solution. I'm kind of with the Emperor here. I'm a big fan of the hand priming. Unless you're progressive, unless you're loading on a progressive, you know, I can understand for saving time if you're trying to wrap out thousands of rounds. But I mean, why not a hand primer? You know, you literally get the feel. Yep, exactly. Why not a hand primer?
I hand prime my Precision 308s, 270s, 30-06, and all that stuff. And by the way, Bacon challenged me to a shot, which I'm going to film and have a video on, not this weekend, but next weekend. It is a 1/4-inch AR-500 steel plate sitting sideways after the chain broke at 250 yards with one shot with a 30-06.
All right, so let me ask you guys this, since we're talking hand priming. What hand primer do you all recommend? And I want to start with the Emperor.
Well, I use the RCBS, but Johnny's reloading bench has been using the Frankfurt Arsenal, and I think that might be a better value.
I don't like that. The problem that I have with the Frankfurt Arsenal one, from what I've seen, I'm with you, Willie, or Emperor. I like the RCBS one, and if you look at his video on the Frankfurt Arsenal one, he talks about the grip angle of it and how the grip angle is different than the one that we use. And I think that would bother me. I like the grip angle of the RCBS one. I really do.
I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah. I like the straight.
If you look at his videos since he's gotten that Frankfurt Arsenal one, he is still using his RCBS one, and I think a lot of it has to do with that grip angle.
You're right.
He's definitely bouncing back and forth. He's bouncing back and forth some, but I think he's still using the RCBS one. That grip angle on the RCBS one makes a lot more sense to me than the Frankfurt Arsenal one does.
I like the RCBS one too.
I'm still using the old Lee, like the old Lee.
The old, yeah. Well, from what I've heard, I obviously don't have one, but I've heard the old Lee is really good. But I've not heard good things with the new one. But for what's out there right now, as far as new ones, I think my opinion would be RCBS one as well.
What's on the shelf, go with the RCBS. I like that. My buddy of mine that reloads has the Frankfurt, and it doesn't feel right.
And I think that's, you know, that's a big thing talking about, like me being a new reloader and our buddy here being a new reloader. When I went to purchase all of my stuff, rather than looking at, like, the kits are great, but how many pieces out of those kits do you see on guys' benches that have actively been reloading for a long time? So when I bought my stuff, like my Redding T7 press and my RCBS Chargemaster Light, the expensive things like that, you know, that's obviously a lot for somebody new to get into it, to buy stuff that's that high end. But look at maybe some of the middle end stuff that guys have on their bench that they're still using. And I didn't see a lot of that in many of the packages that are put out for quote unquote new reloaders, which is why I personally stayed away from it.
And maybe that's some videos that maybe we need to make.
Well, and that was my point. Like, what are we actually using, and what, you know, what kind of stuff after, you know, however long you've been reloading, Kyle, since you were, you know, you still had Similac on your mouth, but, you know, what kind of stuff are you still using?
Here's the thing, man. I'll tell you that's why I recommend that RCBS kit. If you get everything out of that kit is still functional or still useful for somebody who's been reloading for 10 years.
Well, what's in that? I know that kit has got the scale. And I know from what I've heard, the RCBS scale is solid. What else is in that kit other than the?
It's got a powder measure, which RCBS powder measures are fine, and it's got and then some other ancillary stuff. The press would be great. Like, let's say if you're 10 years down the road, what would you be using that press for? Well, sizing bullets, you know, deep priming. I mean, it wouldn't be your primary press anymore.
It'd be single stage operation.
But it'll still be useful. Where some of that other stuff, I think, it didn't hold up.
Well, is that an area where this new Lee press, this new Lee turret press could kind of come in? And that's exactly, see, that's kind of what I was thinking. This, or not the Lee, but the new Lyman is actually what I was getting ready to say. Like the new Lyman and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that new Lyman press could definitely. Here's the thing, though, that the little C clamp press, the little C style press that I don't recommend those for first time reloaders, because they're really good for certain things, but I don't know, they're but yeah, I like the turret presses, but I don't know, man, it's weird. Like the auto indexing turret presses can get some new people in trouble. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's gonna be up to the person, but.
If I had to do it all over again, I would go with my very first and I never bought a kit or anything, because I was fortunate enough to know people that had been doing it for years. The first thing I would do is buy a 4-hole turret press, or, you know, something like that. And the Lee is fine. It works great. I'd take that little actuating rod out of it, where you single stage everything that you're going to do with it. I bought a scale, you know, a digital scale, which was actually a Frankfurt Arsenal. I bought a tumbler, which was a dry tumbler Frankfurt Arsenal. Oh God! Now we're talking years now. Just recently got into casting bullets about five, maybe 6 years ago. But I found a bunch of websites where you could find projectiles cheap and find powder. Once you've got all that, as long as you've got a hand primer that you trust and a case trimmer, if you're doing rifle brass, that's the only things that you need besides a funnel. I mean, come on.
All right, so let me ask this, and I just asked this kind of question, but just in one word, between each and every one on this panel right now, what hand primer do you recommend? And I don't want anything else but other than Lee, RCBS, whatever it may be. So go.
RCBS.
I got nothing, brother, because I haven't used a new one. I only have
RCBS. But let me tell you, Scotty, when you're holding the RCBS one and you're changing that out from large to small, do not let go of that thing, because that son bitch will shoot across the room.
RCBS and buy 2.
RCBS and just make sure that
Buy two.
Just make sure everything seats properly and all that good stuff. And
I mean, RCBS and buy two. I mean, you know, Kyle was talking earlier about like his press, and the biggest pain in the ass with the press is changing out the damn little sizer to swap between, you know, large rifle and small rifle primers. It's the same thing with the hand primers. I mean, just buy two. They're not so prohibitively inexpensive that you can't buy two, and the amount of time that you'll save by just having two and not having to worry about dicking around with the 10 minutes that it takes to swap out the damn piece of it, just buy two.
Or chasing that damn spring.
Yeah.
The old Lee, which if you run across one on eBay, I really, really recommend going that route because you don't have to deal with that. Like changing out the stem is just as fast as changing out the actual shell plate or the shell holder. So it's really, really fast. The only problem with the Lee is that it's got a circle. It's got a really small and a circular sized primer tray.
Right.
If you take and just flip it over, you're going to dump stuff everywhere. So you kind of have to tip them and pour them into it and then shake it out. It's not a big deal. I mean,
Well, I think that was my point. Like if we're talking about having setups with multiple presses, you know, if we're at a rate where we're talking about multiple presses, just buy two hand primers. I mean, really.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's exactly the truth. And I was not knocking the primer change out on a 550. A Dillon 550 primer change out, that's 3 minutes if you're so drunk you can't walk.
Right.
But it was just aggravating. If I want to switch from 9mm to 45, you know, I could be done with everything over here to go from 9mm to 45. I'm like, shit, now I got to change that. So instead of buying another 550, because I can crank out 800, damn near 1,000 rounds in an hour on that thing.
I can do that.
A Lee Loadmaster is as quick as you can pull the handle. You're done.
Well, and I think because I had walked into the other room and I still had sound. What you said a few minutes ago, and I don't remember whether it was you or Nathan, Kyle, about for a new reloader specifically, a non-auto indexing minimum 4-hole press, I think is a good place to start into this hobby.
No, you can go ahead and buy the auto indexing one. Take the actuating rod out of it.
Right. But what I'm saying is, even if you buy, you know, whether it's the Lee or the new Lyman's that are coming out, or the Redding, or something.
Yeah, like a Redding or whatever.
Right,
but
something that's non-auto indexing in a turret press, I think is a really smart buy for a new reloader.
I'm telling you, I am not disappointed at all. And I actually bought this Lee 4-hole turret to take with me down to the shooting property to work up loads with. I'll just thread the dies in there and load the stuff right there. Not a problem.
I also have a belief or opinion that if you are a rifle shooter, which is what I used to be almost entirely, a single stage press will do you well in those beginning stages because it'll give you more time operating and working with each die, so you really get to learn how to set your dies up. And so putting it in the press and setting your lock ring and then just running up and down. You know what I mean? That's one of the things that we're changing out turret heads. I really like that. That's one of the things I really loved about the single stage is it really forced me to have to pay attention to each and every section. And I would do all my brass at one time, resizing and all that. So when I was doing rifle, it was easy. Now, when you go to pistol, a single stage can just be a little bit too much drudgery and take too much time, I think, for a new person, and it might turn them away. So depending on
I mean, I really liked my turret press. I'm glad I bought it. I really am. It took a little bit of time to get it all set up and get things aligned the way they need to be, get my crimp right and all that stuff. But again, I was brand spanking new. I'd never done it, you know. So that's expected, and it works well. It's just the priming system. That's the only thing I don't like about it is the priming system.
Let me say something. Y'all talking about priming, and he asked everybody's opinion, but I didn't get a chance to chime in here. I use the Frankfurt Arsenal hand primer.
Oh, good.
The reason I like it is because, well, they're all talking about the angle of the handle, the hand angle and all that. I'm like you, Scotsman. I'm new to this. I've only been doing it like a year and a half maybe. And I've not used anything else. So that's a non-issue for me. But what I like about it is you can adjust the depth that your primers are going to go into the primer pocket. And let me give you some encouragement about the priming system. James Pollard just put on there too. He doesn't have any problem priming on the Lee turret. When I first got mine, and the first press I ever had was the 4-hole turret press like you did. And since I've added one of those little small C-style Lee presses that I saw Elvis Ammo using that. You can get those for like 30 or 40 bucks, and you can do a lot. That's what I size bullets on. That's what some flare cases on when I'm using my cast lead bullets. But that priming system on that turret is going to smooth out if you'll not give up on it and keep using it. One of the things that I've noticed is that it throws primers, like you were saying, Scotsman. It'll throw primers all over the place. But the more you use it, the more it smooths out and the better it works. The last time I used it, and I could never get the last 3 or 4 out of the tube, out of the feeder. But the last time I used it, man, I primed I did a run of 50 rounds, and I had absolutely 0 problems with it at all.
All right, so let me ask you this. I've probably, since I bought the press, I probably loaded about 1,000 rounds so far. How many rounds am I looking at before I hit that point where I'm not going to have that issue?
I probably don't have that many on mine. I'm probably right about there with you, maybe 1,500. That's where I'm at. Maybe 2,000.
Okay, yeah, I've easily loaded 1,000 plus on that so far. And I still have that issue of it kicking out here and there.
Yeah, I think that's a part of the design.
I've easily loaded 1,000 plus on that so far.
Oh crap! I came back inside. Had to readjust the volume there.
That little small C-style Lee press, though, it's cheap, and it's not much. It's aluminum, and I wouldn't do heavy torque type stuff on it. But for sizing bullets and light stuff like that, maybe I've got that Lee Universal expanding die, and it comes in handy, especially for this 35 Remington load series that I'm doing, because with rifle kits, you don't get an expanding die. So if you're going to do cast lead bullets in rifles, you're going to have something like that. And I'm sure that all the other manufacturers make them.
Yeah,
Hey, Jamie, you coming over tomorrow and let's powder coat some bullets?
I thought we were going to the range tomorrow.
I thought we were going tonight.
We had this
I said,
to do.
call me. You never called me.
I'll be hitting you guys up here soon. I'm almost to the point where I'm ready to start casting.
That's an undertaking, and I recommend going big first. Don't screw around. Like, get a nice pot, get your stuff set up nice. It makes a difference.
Scotsman, you actually just laid the gateway for my next video segment. I've been doing 44 Magnums. And here you go, Tim. There you go. There you go, buddy. There's your little robin eggs.
Well, hey, if you've been making some 44s, I better get a package in the mail.
That's what I'm saying, man. Hey, check this out. Yeah, thanks, Tim. Appreciate that. All right, just got a brand new mold in. I hate to say it, I used to be a Lee guy. For lack of a better word, I'm an NOE slut. I mean, I don't know. I love these things. Yeah, there you go, Tim. Yeah. These molds are
Tim, don't fall over, man. Don't fall over.
These molds are amazing. I mean, you just can't believe the quality of these things. And hey, I branched out and I went with a 4 cavity. There we go. 4-cavity. It's a 44 Magnum, 432. Supposed to be dropping like a, I don't know, 277-ish. But it's got variable hollow points in it. And here's the cool thing. It's an Elmer Keith bullet. So I can make regular wad cutters, small hollow points, big hollow points, flat nose wad cutters. Doesn't matter. Just got it today. Just put the handles on it. Guys, there's going to be a video tomorrow because it's going to be raining here all weekend. So I'm going to be on the back porch tomorrow.
I'm just gonna tell you right now that's badass, and the fact that it has Elmer Keith's name on that's even more badass.
Right. So address.
If you guys don't know who Elmer Keith was, Elmer Keith is the reason we have the 44 mag.
Exactly.
That
So
man is
address.
the legend, and he's an awesome dude.
Hey, Scotsman, do you powder coat your own stuff, or you traditionally lube or anything?
I haven't got that far yet, man. I'm getting there. I'm working my way there, dude.
Nope. You've said enough. Send me your fucking send me your address. I'll take care of you, brother. Not a problem. I'll take care of you.
All right, man. I'll send you some brass. I got plenty of it.
All right, I'll trade you plenty of lead for plenty of brass. How about that?
Tim.
About Uncle Jim's donkey chair kills me every time. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that.
The donkey chair. Yeah.
Hold on. Why does Uncle Jim have a donkey, and why is it in a chair?
Because he's not discovered WD-40 yet.
His donkey's somewhere else, but his chair.
Oh, he doesn't have any lube.
He's not discovered the art of WD-40. So.
Scotsman, it was amazingly funny the other night because we had Scotsman on one of these live crap. We had Uncle Jim on one of these live chats, and he was sitting there going, "Ee-aw, ee-aw, ee-aw, ee-aw." Yeah. Hey man, you don't know what you're missing.
So
Hey,
Tim,
hey,
have you not loaded some cast lead rifle stuff?
The 308.
Yeah.
I haven't lately, but I have been.
So what do you use for to expand cases for those?
You wouldn't believe me if I told. Well, yeah, you would. I've got a lead. Lead expanding die that I've taken the plug out. I actually have, and I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there's a field point in there off a arrow, and it's got 2 steps. I had one out here the other day. I don't have it now, but I don't even have to adjust this from a 243 or my 308 because the bottom step fits the 223 and the top step fits the 308.
Sorry, I asked, man.
No, don't, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is ultimately cool right there.
Leave it to somebody from Missouri to take a damn archery field point and shove it in a reloading.
Whoa. This from the guy that can't even join the frickin' stream until like 2 hours after the stream starts.
Hey, man. Hey.
Not just that, he's using welding clamps to hold his breath.
Yeah, I mean, what's up with that, man? You got C-clamps everywhere.
Yeah, but hang on.
Hey,
I have mass respect. I have mass respect for the Emperor for using an arrow point and making something.
Beautiful? Those are beautiful. Hey, Jamie, they actually chamber it in my Ruger Red Hawk. We're going to shoot these next time we get together.
We'll see it. We'll see if they chamber in my Smith & Wesson when you send me some.
Okay.
Talking about the arrowhead there reminds me of watching Uncle Jim's video about the about them kind of making the mold shelf for his lead pot. It gets me thinking, man. Is anybody else making any kind of new or neat stuff to make their equipment work better? I used to do that all the time, but recently I've gotten out of the habit because I don't have my shop close. I used to be able to just pop right into the shop, or even when my reloading stuff was in the shop, I could weld and grind and cut and do whatever I wanted. Now it's like, it seems almost like if I buy it, I don't think about it. I don't know. It used to be like I was always modding my stuff to make it better. Anybody got anything new to think about?
I'll be honest with you, Nathan. I've never had a problem with the bullet mold. Actually, now I know why there's an issue with it. This rough-bottomed bullet mold is not going to slide on that Lee guide. Now I know why they're talking about it. Never mind. Everything I've said before is invalid.
Brother, I had to say this. That when you have vice grips holding your stuff on, I don't think you're too worried about your equipment.
I was going to say your word's probably not that valued at this point. Clamps for everything you ever do.
Okay, look at it. Let me go full engineer on this. I'm glad everybody's laughing their ass off.
Oh damn, we went full engineer.
The Lee guide is about that long, and it bolts to the clamp that's right here. It's just enough to give half of the mold, something to go on. The NOE guide is about that wide, and it's got a trough in the middle, and this part's cut out. And it's for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
why.
I want that thing.
I never realized that until right now when I looked at the bottom side of that mold and went, holy crap.
Again, we were talking about your C-clamps and not the mold, so I don't know why you went back to the mold. You just completely tried to get away from what we were talking about, and you failed.
Okay, so what color do you want to see clamps next week? I mean, Jesus Christ. This one's got some white. It's got some Ford or a Chevy yellow,
Knowing you probably have, fluorescent pink.
Jamie, don't laugh.
Man, it wasn't so bad that you told me not to laugh.
The sad part is because he told you not to, he probably has them. That's the bad part.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jamie, can we talk some knives for a minute?
Yeah, man.
Because you did your video and all that stuff. And mine's going to be really quick. It's I don't have my oldest. I've got what I carry all the time and why I carry it. How about that?
Okay.
That work? Okay. What we have here is a Kershaw Ken Onion. Nice little blade profile. All that. That's a everyday carry. Oops, sorry.
Ooh.
I know. Yeah. This is a CRCT Ken Onion. That's another everyday carry. I rotate between these two because I'm sharpening them at least once a week because I use a knife every day. Now, this is what's kind of cool. I was actually digging through a chest at my house. I actually live in the house that I grew up in. And this is something that I haven't seen in a long time. This is a Gerber with a Pennsylvania blade, a Portland, Oregon blade on it that I can't remember seeing since I was 9. I found it.
I was gonna say, so an actual original Gerber when Gerber was Gerber.
Yeah, that's an awesome blade. You can wipe this thing on a pine tree and sharpen it, and it'll hold the edge forever. Okay, I've got the full lead taco knife, and I carry this a lot, and Jamie can attest to that. Okay, I'm a Gerber fan. If I'm out in the woods. This is a what was it? It's another Portland, Oregon Gerber blade. I can't remember the model number. It's half serrated, half not. I use this all the time, mainly in the woods. If I'm in real thick stuff, I have a Smith & Wesson Outback. Gurkery knife. It works as a machete. It's just a lot lighter. I also use it to split wood at the campsite and all that. Then I've got another cricket.
Boomerang.
Yeah, I got another cricket, little CRCT knife. This little guy is awesome. I carry this thing all the time. It's in every backpack that I ever carry. I've always got 2 or 3 knives on me, along with other things. And I just thought y'all get a kick out of that. Real quick. I told you it was going to be real quick.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. What do you call a boomerang that don't work?
A stick.
Exactly. Okay, Tim, we saw you going to get stuff. Let's see your knives.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
No, I went to get something to drink. But you have a little Uncle Henry. Oh, crapper, I think they call it.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Tim wins.
How's that?
Because it's called the crapper?
No.
Because Kyle talked for like 20 minutes on 2 knives.
20? Really?
Really?
Well, what's causing all this, Scotsman, is back about 2.5 weeks ago, Georgia Boy 44 did a video about knives, and it was, I think it sprouted off of a live chat somewhere. It might have been one of yours, as a matter of fact. I'm not sure, but he talked about his oldest, his favorite.
Willie, hang on. I'll be right back.
Really say.
Oldest, favorite, and everyday carry. Am I right, Georgia Boy? You still out there? And I did a VR to him, and I was kind of disappointed that nobody else joined up and started doing videos about their knives. So I didn't want to leave him hanging, so I did a video about it, and so that's what we're talking about tonight.
Gotcha. I don't have that many knives, but I can make him a video. That's easy.
Oh, let me see if I can find this thing. I got to show y'all one more knife.
Hey, in the meantime, hey, Willie. There it is, brother. Hoorah.
Hey, and Kyle, I'll make sure my video is like 2 minutes or less, and I'll have everything and done.
Well, you're obviously a lot better editing than I am doing it live.
No, I'll just do it, in one take and done, dude. I'm not gonna mess around. I don't.
Oh, hey, man. I got a package from AOK today.
Good.
And I'm gonna do an unboxing tomorrow.
Awesome, man.
I sent Tack and Brenda a little heads up. Hey, I got it. Gonna wait till tomorrow to do it. I hadn't even cut the tape on it.
Awesome, man.
Who knows, man? They're such awesome people, and
they are.
Cool stuff.
They are some really good people. I got a package from them, and I didn't even know anything was coming.
Did you see what I sent them? Did you see what I sent them?
Brandon Beard CB82 didn't even freaking tell me I was getting a package, and this thing just randomly showed up. And I had kimchi, and I had a beer, and a magnet, and all kinds of stuff in there. I was like, damn.
I was gonna say, did he get his beer? Because I sent all 4 of them a beer.
Yeah, I believe they got all the beers. Yep.
I know they all showed up. I don't know if everybody got them who was supposed to get them.
I'll text Brandon tomorrow and ask him to make sure he got his beer.
I told him, I said, you better head over there next door and find out.
So in Georgia Boy's video, he had a nice one. As soon as Tim gets back, I'll show this. He had one that his wife gave him, and Georgia Boy, I hope you can see this. This is one my wife gave me.
Good Lord.
No, if I may, if I may, that is one hell of a pocket knife.
Does that thing have a koozie on the side of it?
Wait a minute, Jamie. How big a pocket you got?
It ain't that big. Look at this.
Holy Lord.
Hold on, Kyle. What you need? What the question you really need to be asking is he in America or is he in Australia? Because that ain't a knife. This is a knife.
This is a knife.
Well, that's the first folding sword I've seen in a while. So, good on her.
Yeah, man. This
Hey,
was a gag gift my wife gave me one Christmas, but when Tim showed his Uncle Henry, it reminded me that I didn't put this in my video, and I was wanting to do this at the end of the video, but I had another unboxing to do.
it's damn sure not an ant, Henry.
Just for giggles, what does that thing weigh?
2 pounds?
Oh, come on. It's not plastic.
No, that's metal. Got
Only-
laminated wood.
Only 2 pounds. That's it.
No,
I don't
it's not
know.
2 pounds.
I was thinking it weighed about as much as 2 of those ingots
Jamie,
of lead that I make.
this is about 3 pounds.
No, it's not.
No.
Oh, come on.
No, it's not.
I just hoping he would say like his was 12.
All right, number one,
It's,
dude,
what, 14
you're
ounces, I think.
number one, dude, you're full of crap. That is not 3 pound knife because I have one and it's like maybe half a pound if you're lucky.
That's what I just said. It's about what, 14 ounces with the sheath?
So you're full of crap and yeah.
No,
Moving
I
on.
was messing with Jamie. Jesus.
Moving on.
Yeah, he's just picking on me.
Hey, don't be picking on Jamie. Jamie's a cool guy, man. He's a Smith & Wesson lover. So don't be picking on him because you pick on him, I'm going to pick on you.
You know what? He can stand up for his own self, and I'm sure I'll talk to him tomorrow. And
He
he'll just tell me what's for.
He can. But just remember, Smith & Wesson sticks together. So be careful who you piss off.
Hey, man, I'm a Coke guy, brother.
That's Scotsman. I got a question for you. While I got you on here, I'm really interested in a 4-inch Smith 44 mag. What range of year or model do you think is probably the safest bet for a very, very functional revolver? I mean, not necessarily have to be a tack driver or anything.
So for functional and accurate, and what kind of price point are we talking here? Are you looking to spend under $1,000 or are you looking at?
I'm looking at something that I'll actually put in a holster and carry around. So I'm
Okay.
not looking at a
All right. So I will tell you, my 4-inch 44 I carry, I ended up spending $1,200 on it, and I'm glad I did. It's from the 70s, and I trust that thing 110%. Now, if you're looking, I can take a look and see what I can find. I'll shoot you an email and see what I can do to help you out. Try to find one in particular that you want. But a 4-inch, one of the 4-inch is probably one of the hardest ones to find in a good shape and at a decent price.
Yeah, I kind of assume that. I'm not looking right now because I got to. That's one to save up to get things, but that's just something that's really, really on my radar. I'd rather not get a Red Hawk for that. I mean, so I don't know. I'm really wanting to get a Smith for it. So I'm guessing what you're thinking is what, like a 629 or something.
You can find a good 29-2.
Okay.
If you know where to look. And I don't go the 6 unless you want the stainless steel. Then you go the 629 because that's the stainless. But I normally stick 29-2 and go with the blued. That's just me because I'm old school.
Well, I like blue guns as well, but I'm also I can. There's times when I think stainless is all right, and usually I'll lean towards stainless for something that's going to be holstered and woods carried. I don't know. I'll think on that. That's.
No, you got my email, man. Just shoot me a message. Let me know, and I'll take a look. I'll see what I can find. If you want, shoot me your number, and I'll hook you up when I can, man.
Eagle Eye mentions the Ruger LCR and 32 Federal Mag. I bet that thing is bitey.
32, and also 327, which
loud as hell.
I'm guessing he meant 327.
I'm pretty sure he meant 327 and not 32, because 327 is a hell of a round. And I personally have not shot one yet, but I've looked at them. I've looked at the ballistics, and 327 is just ridiculous what it is.
Yeah, they're cool. I'm just thinking with the LCR, this could be a snappy little piece, I'm guessing, and probably.
Oh, snappy is all get up. Snappy is all get up.
Yeah, I've got a 32 H&R mag, and I've been around those for a long time, and I love them. I think they're great, and I haven't got a 327 yet. I think some of the guys are taking their 32 mags like I have, and chamber reaming them to 327, but I'm not going to do that. I like mine being standard.
Yeah, no, just shoot me a message, man. And if you want, it's up to you. Send me a number if you want to, dude. And I'll hook you up. I'll look for one.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Guys, we're actually at 10 o'clock. We're getting a little bit close to time. So people in the comment section, if you want to hear anything or you got any questions, bring them up. If you guys want to say anything, start kind of giving our final thoughts here.
OP had a question earlier. I don't remember what it was. PMing presses. How often do we PM our presses?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I see, I don't do a full teardown unless, like, it's been, I don't know, a couple years. Unless, like, something's – because normally what I do is I just brush mine off, and then I'll, oil it or whatever when I feel like it needs it. And then if it gets where that doesn't take care of it, then I'd probably pull it down. So, I don't know. I'm not big on – I'm not Mr. Maintenance on my presses.
I personally, I have a dry silicone spray, and I use that for multiple different things. But dry silicone spray, if you've never used it, is an awesome thing. And I use that on my press. And again, I use that about every 1,000 rounds is where I use it. And you only need a little bit. You don't need to put a lot, just a little bit, and you're done. That's it.
Yeah, little goes a long way when it comes to any of that stuff, for sure. What about you guys?
Like I said, I've only been reloading about a year and a half, and I don't have 2,000 rounds on my press yet, so I haven't really done anything but oil it. Ask Tim; he knows everything.
Here's my biggest thing before the Emperor speaks, because I know the Emperor, and dude, here's my thing. Whatever you do, do not use WD-40, because WD-40 is bad.
Ugh. Yes. Yeah.
All right,
I actually use Earl Shaft lube.
Do what?
Arrow shaft lube.
Nice.
You mean on your Ram?
Yeah. OP was asking how often do we do a full PM on our presses, and I think his thing was he trims on his, and he gets a lot of brass down in there. So I've got a really good paintbrush that I brush mine off with, get gunpowder and stuff like that off of it, and then wipe it down real good and then re-oil it. I generally don't have to, I haven't taken mine all the way down, but there's a guy who's got a video on doing that with the Lee 4-hole turret press. There's a video out there about taking the linkages all apart and how he lubes it all back up and everything.
All right, guys, I'm gonna jump out. I appreciate you letting me jump in here. I really do, and I'm happy to do it anytime. But guys, if you would, I gotta jump out because I gotta call Scotty back. Scotty just called me. But if you guys haven't seen my latest video, please go watch it. And if you can, help out Scotty. Scotty's got some problems going on with the family, so I would much appreciate it. I am giving away something that is very near and dear to my heart, and something I fought for a long time, which is my Smith & Wesson Model 19. So anyone on this chat knows what Smith & Wesson means to me and knows that that's pretty badass when I'm giving that away. So anyway, guys, I appreciate it, and thank you very much for letting me jump in here.
All right, brother.
Thank you, sir.
I want to show you something. Can you see that?
Yep.
I'm going to pull a gorilla on you. Is that as pretty as a Smith or what?
No, it's ugly as shit. And with that, I'm
I
out of
just
here.
had to go there. Good night.
Bye, Scotsman. Thanks for coming.
I appreciate it, guys. I really do. All my brothers out there, please take care, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, brother. Good to talk to you.
All right, later.
All right, guys. So, anybody else got any closing kind of remarks, thoughts, interests, crap you want to get off our chest?
I'm looking forward to tomorrow. This baby.
Are you shooting or casting? Do you even know?
Oh no, I'm casting a bunch of hollow points, or flat nosed, or small hollow points, or big ones. I'm gonna make I'm gonna shoot the, what they call it, gauntlet. I'm gonna shoot the gauntlet.
Is that what you guys renamed your?
I'm going damn near full loads of bacon on this. I'm gonna shoot I'm gonna cast the big ones, the little ones, the flat ones, and big ones, the fat ones, and I guess I'll eat some worms.
So is Gauntlet what you guys named Jamie's new chronograph?
Well, I'm pretty sure I can do that without the gauntlet. You had to go there. You had
That's
to go
brutal.
there. And thanks, Jamie, for putting that video out. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, awesome. Mr. Robinson, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I want to answer JCM's question about how CMAX is. From the last time I heard the Scotsman say anything about him, he was doing better, but he's still needing help with trips back and forth to Texas and home.
That's kind of last I heard as well. It's a shame, it really is, but it is really awesome the way that the YouTube community has come together and been able to help out this entire endeavor. I'm really proud about that.
I think we gotta be.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear he's doing better, or at least evened out some. I recently just had a friend. Friend's a strong word. An old acquaintance of mine, a girl that I used to know that I was friends with her on Facebook, and I knew she was going through. She was having a cancer issue, my age, and it went from being, oh, it's it's okay, it's not, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, looks like I might have to get a little bit of chemo to like a month later she died, and it's like, wow, it just happened so damn fast. You just never know. So I'm glad to hear somebody beating it.
Yeah, my cousin here a month ago, he found out on a Friday that he had cancer, and by the next Friday he was in the morgue. It worked. Yeah, it worked on him that fast. They could actually see it in the microscope growing. It's horrible. Cancer is just horrible.
Yeah, that's
You're all kind of scary, guys.
Absolutely, especially for somebody who smoked for 20 damn years like an idiot.
Only 20?
Yeah, I quit, man. I quit about 2 years ago.
Congratulations, man. Good job.
February, I think. Yeah.
Actually, my girlfriend's 1 week into quitting.
Well, good for her.
I'm very supportive of her and all that and the other, but she's really not too much fun to be around right now.
I bet.
Jamie knows. He's heard. You gonna get your ass in the kitchen and come eat?
Yeah, I use the patches, and that helped get me over that hump. But yeah, I quit before now and then. So I was one of those people that was like, I smoked very heavy for a certain period. Well, not very heavy, not like 1970s heavy. No one smokes like that anymore. But like I smoked heavy for a long time, like about 12, 14 years. Then I got where I was quitting every once in a while, trying to stop because it was health for me. It wasn't so much like, oh, it's going to kill you, because I can't figure that out. My brain doesn't work that way.
Right.
What it does do is like I would, jog up 3 flights of stairs and I'd be out of breath thinking, holy shit, somebody kicked me in the chest.
Right. Yeah.
That's what got me to quit, is that I just couldn't physically be as active as I wanted to be.
Actually, when I lived out in Vegas, I was hiking up mountains and rock climbing and rappelling and all this stuff seemed like every 3 days, like every Wednesday and on the weekend and everything else. And I quit smoking and drinking, living out in Vegas.
That seems the most
free beer.
Man, that's strange. That's good though. I mean, that just tells you that when you have something else that you want to do more, you can stop those things. If it's
then I moved back to Georgia, and the humidity got the best of me, and I'm back doing both of them. So
gnats want to make me drink, and I don't drink very often at all.
Right. Guys, can I actually ask the panel that's here to maintain on the line after we wrap this up?
Yeah, I'm willing to hang for a while.
I got some stuff I want to talk to you guys about.
Yeah, fair enough. Preacher's Day Off showed up, brother. I haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. We've got you, Georgia boy, Jamie. This is like the church group. I'm kind of like that.
Last time I tried to quit dipping, my wife bought me a new roll after about a week and a half. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, preacher said he quit dipping snuff after 25 years. My granddad, when he was on his deathbed, he asked me to give him a dip of snuff. And I said, I found his tin, his little cup, his little can that he carried in his front pocket. And I said, well, open your mouth and lift your tongue up. And he did. And I said, Papa, you still got a dip in there. And he said, okay. Well, never mind then. But one more thing I want to say before we, not bragging on myself or anything, but we're talking about cancer and stuff like that and bad habits. Memorial Day weekend, 15 years ago, I took my last drink. So I've been sober for 15 years and it feels good. I was of the opinion, and George Boy 44 and Preacher's Day Off will get a kick out of this. I was of the opinion that I could start going to church, and church was for Sunday. And then once I left church on Sunday, I could go live like I wanted to. And I was going to church once or twice a week. But it didn't make a real big difference until I heard my pastor give a sermon one day, and he said that alcohol was the #1 killer of people and #1 drug problem in America, run more lives than anything else in the country. And that if I believe that casual drink, anybody, not me, anybody in the congregation that believed casual drinking was okay, to meet him outside the church after the service was over, and he would point them in the direction of at least 24 churches in our area that believed that, and that if we believed that social drinking was okay, that we were certainly welcome to go to one of those churches. And at that point, I went home and poured out half a case of beer and a half a quart of liquor. And I have not touched a drop since then. And that's just my story. Technically in the Bible, there's nothing wrong with taking a drink here and there. There's just not. And but it wasn't a problem, but it was a problem. And I eliminated that problem from my life. And I don't judge anybody else for doing what they do, but
I've told you this before, brother. Hats off, man. You hats off.
Well, it ain't nothing I've done. And Preacher's Day Off and Georgia Boy 44 will tell you that too. We don't. There comes a point in time when you're not, that you're not able to do something, and that's when you get help from above. And the Lord took that away from me pretty easy that day, and I hadn't looked back, and I'm proud of what He's done in my life. And
That's
there's
beautiful. I've seen it be an extreme measure in other people's lives.
that's right, preacher. A drink
not
ain't a
preaching.
sin.
Yeah, I got really lucky with it. I had my moment. I think I was in my late 20s where all of a sudden realized I was hooked, and I walked off and I didn't touch one for a long while, like a couple of years. And now I can have a 6-pack in the fridge for a month, you know. But I know other people that didn't get that lucky. They didn't stop early enough, and
Oh yeah.
Well, my drinking was not a problem for me. It was just a problem for everybody else, if you know what I mean.
mine was actually getting to be a bit of an issue for me, man. It was making work kind of hard. I mean, I was one of the hangovers got real bad. But anyway, I don't know. I don't even know the last time I've been actually.
Y'all change the subject. Don't let me keep
guys,
preaching it.
let's continue this on a private chat.
Yeah, absolutely. We can talk about this stuff later. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody coming out. You know, the chat's been really active tonight. I think we've had probably more viewers tonight than we've had in a while. And we've had some people come in.
I appreciate every damn one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really good. If you guys have anything, I know Jamie just put out another video on the Remington. I really recommend you guys going and watching that. I don't know what Tim's been up to lately. What you working on there, Tim?
I really haven't been doing anything, but like I said, I've been trying to get these 380s loaded, and then I'm going to get back to the 410 powder.
Damn 380s.
Tim is very creative.
That's about it.
All right, Rob, what videos? Where are you at on your Grendel series?
I'm trying to freaking. I'm gonna have to take a boat out to where I need to set this target up with the way it keeps raining down here.
No doubt, brother. It's been pouring up here too, and I mean, hell, you're way south of me, but I've just been getting hammered.
Yeah, I was telling Nathan before we got started, we've had over 6 inches in the last 2 weeks. The fields are absolutely swamp. I killed a deer the other night that I had to drag out, and I was literally up to my calves, dragging that thing out, just sinking down into the mud. It's crazy down here right now.
I had to pump 2.5 inches of water out of my pool. What the hell?
Look at you living the high life with a pool and such, man.
We'll talk about this shit in a minute.
All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and I thank everybody for showing up. Let's go ahead and sign off. I appreciate it. God bless everybody. Go ahead and say goodbyes, and we'll go off air. We can chat about pools and such.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I'm going to be real quick and easy. Guys, love each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for checking in, and hope to see you next Friday.
Jamie?
Okay, we're going to try to shoot tomorrow, the third load of the 35 Remington series. Hopefully we'll have some footage, and at least I can show you some targets. This one's going to be H335, so I'm hoping for some good tight groups. Nathan?
Hey, Jamie, I got it.
Yeah, you do.
We're good to go.
Tim, you want to sign off, tell anybody anything?
Well, I just want to say, get back to Jamie and knives. This was my first attempt to make a knife myself. It's not very pretty, but it's gonna buck.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
cool.
all that's said. Thanks.
That's better than me. I can use a piece of glass.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to be it. We're going to head. I'm going to hit the stop broadcast here, and we're going to probably pick it up. I guess I think we're going to do this next week as well, as far as I know, unless anybody has any objections, and we'll figure out what we're going to do as far as the topic. But I appreciate everybody coming out, and have a good night.